Good afternoon, fellow firefighters. My name is Bill Hughes. I'm here today to advise you of some of the events that took place on 9/11 that caused the Twin Towers to fall to their demise. When architects planned to make the Twin Towers, they never anticipated that someone would fly a passenger jet plane into the sides of them, causing the amount of damage they did with the impact and the fires burning deep inside of them. Country singer Toby Keith states it best: "This nation that I love has fallen under attack. A mighty sucker punch has come flying in from somewhere in the back." That day, the towers did more than anyone could ever expect. Yes, they might have fallen, but they stood long enough for people to get out and their lives to be saved. The original construction plans for the towers were just to be a vast amount of office space. They used a web-like design on the outside, almost like a metal-type lattice, connected by floors that were connected to 47 steel internal I-beams, shown here in diagram 1. The 47 internal core I-beams were all placed around like a tube, connected to a floor that was also connected to the outside metal lattice. That's why designers state it was a tube inside of a tube. The metal-type lattice was connected to the floors by angle irons, in which case the floors had joists that were only 3/4 of an inch thick. The concrete was poured on the floors that was attached to the 47 internal I-beams. Minimal concrete was used in the construction of the towers due to its weight and the size that it takes up. Mostly it was minimally used because the elevator banks were placed inside of the I-beams, in which case the velocity of the traveling elevators would cause the cracking and falling of the concrete. So instead they used a spray-on fire retardant. Nothing though could have prepared them for what was going to happen that horrible day. In an unaware twist, they used our planes as weapons against us. An average plane flies approximately 300 miles per hour, but that day they were traveling at about 500 miles an hour when they made impact into the towers. An average plane carries about 23,000 gallons of jet fuel. But since they had just taken off, the planes were completely full of fuel. The first plane made impact on the North Tower between the 93rd and 99th floor, shown here in diagram 2. The plane made a direct hit into the building, breaking through the metal lattice support on the outside and damaging unknown amount of internal I-beams. Authorities believe that the impact of the plane also caused damage to the fire retardant spray that was on the remaining standing I-beams. At the moment, the only enemy that the towers had was the fire burning deep inside of it. Average jet fuel burns between 800 and 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. At 1200 degrees Fahrenheit, steel will lose about half of its strength. And since the fires were burning for numerous amounts of minutes, the steel was losing much of its integrity, was starting to expand and sag. At the high temperatures and the different amounts of fire, the building started to collapse. Each floor was falling on top of itself, causing a pancake effect. After so many floors built up on top of each other, they would just fall down and collapse as they did. With the massive holes in their sides and the fires burning deep within their bellies, Tower 1 stood for 102 minutes after impact. It fell in 10 seconds. Tower number 2 stood for 56 minutes and fell in 8 seconds. In the United States, society is afraid of change and they're afraid of threat. So what are we going to do? We're going to pretend like nothing happened, turn our back, and live inside of our happy little bubble and hope this never happens again. But let's never forget that awful day. 343.
Ha ha ha.